Global Mission Stedmak Gardens Animal Zoo provides a safe haven for animals that have been orphaned, injured, or abandoned.
You come in as a whole, you have fun, and we hope that you'll enjoy your visit.
Among the pride of lions are two stunning lions, Diani and Lamu, who embody grace and strength, captivating all who come to see them. As you approach their enclosure, the sheer beauty of these magnificent creatures takes your breath away. Many of the animals at Stedmak Gardens Animal Zoo have faced hardships that would have led to their demise in the wild. The team here dedicated to rehabilitate the creatures, ensuring they receive care and love.
This place is ideal for families. It could be a group of friends who want to have fun. It could be tourists because we have a variety of animals. Then it's also good for school trips, education.
Tourists are greeted by the gentle hum of nature, where the chirping of birds and rustling leaves create a serene atmosphere. Among the more playful residents are the monkeys, including the charming Malkia. Malkia's antics bring joy to all who visit, reminding us of the importance of play and social interaction in the animal kingdom. The monkeys' lively behavior is a testament to the zoo's dedication to providing a nurturing environment that fosters natural instincts. With 5 species of birds gracing the zoo, visitors can enjoy the colorful displays and melodious songs that fill the air. Each bird species plays a crucial role in the ecosystem.
The Indian fantails, but now in all pigeons, all of them were crossbreed from the rock pigeon. And not all pigeons were kept from the same purpose. There are those pigeons that were kept for beauty, like the frillback, the Jacobin, that were kept for beauty and their feathers. There are others that were kept for sending messages. An example of them is the German Beauty Homer. Others were kept for meat, like the king pigeon and the French modem. Others were kept for sound, like the trumpeters.
Ostriches and other wonders adding to the diversity here are graceful, whose towering presence and unique characteristics draw admiration from all who encounter them. These fascinating birds are a reminder of the incredible variety of life that exists on our planet, and the zoo provides a safe space for them to thrive. Meet the llamas, other captivating residents at Stedmak. The llamas are known for their friendly demeanor and striking appearance. These gentle creatures have a way of capturing the hearts of visitors, young and old. Children giggle as they feed them hay, while adults marvel at their curious nature. Then there are the hyenas, often misunderstood and maligned in popular culture. The snake park at this zoo would arguably go unmentioned.
The most beautiful snakes are venomous. The snakes with the triangular heads are venomous. As we can go through and see the like of the garter snake, the black mamba, the mala viper, the pavada, we'll see them, they are very beautiful snake and they are venomous. The most venomous snakes that we have the black mamba and the boomslang. Now the boomslangs, when it strikes you, you bleed in all parts that have holes in your body.
Here, these intelligent animals are given the opportunity to showcase their playful side. Visitors can observe their social interactions and learn about essential role in the ecosystem, dispelling myths and fostering a deeper appreciation for these fascinating creatures. They say Mother Nature is the ultimate inspiration. When you're feeling bored, simply walk outside and get the fresh air, interact with nature, and this would arguably change your moods and outlook. Mchuma Odem, Magical Sense in the county of Nairobi. Welcome to Kimani, a wonderful stopover for those on their way to the Masai Mara National Park. And by the way, this is one of the common entry points to the Masai Mara National Park when transiting from Narok. The road is all tarmac from Narok town to Kimani. Well, as visitors waited to be cleared into the park, it is time to learn a bit of the Maasai culture from the women selling beadwork wares. The headgear can also be used for neck jewelry.
You can wear this to weddings, to church, and also to any other celebration ceremony.
Beads are a symbol of beauty. The beadwork embodies the Maasai culture, representing beauty, tradition, and sometimes even the social status. Women in the land of Ma meet up in groups and decorate the wares to be worn by both men and women on different occasions. It is arrival time here at the Mara Triangle after a 2-hour drive from Kimani. And when the sun sets on the Mara, a special moment sets in, that of getting treated to the Maasai jumping ceremony. Meet Saitoti, a Moran elder.
We have actually various type of bells.
Saitoti evidently appreciates his culture.
This one is the bigger one for the men. And then we have other smallers, like the one I have here on my neck. This we used to tie the knife or the Maasai sword. This is for the warriors and all other men back at the village. And for the case of the small one, also it's beaded, like the one down here. This is how it look like. It's also a belt. This is a leather.
The Maasai men would often visit stay-in facilities, more so in the evenings, to interact with the visitors as they market their artworks.
Kwa hizi vitu zote ambazo tunauza hapa, huwa tunauza juu tunaleta kwa nyumbani. Wazazi wetu, maybe mama wangu ama dadangu anishone kama rungu kama hii. Niposa nikuje niuze, maybe nimpatie pesa aende shule ama mama apate chakula.
Kuona mtu mwingine ya kabila nyingine hakuna ruhusa ya kuona kama anabeba kisu. Hata kama si anaenda, wageni kama anakuja hapa anajua tu kama iko safe. Kwa ajili Maasai ajui kichini chini.
The Maasai are also mostly associated with a certain type of shoe design, otherwise called a collar carved from tires.
We normally take this type of shoes because they are long-lasting and they're also very hard, made of vehicle tires. So whenever we go all along through the savannah, we have like big thorns and spines, and also some woods. So they are very, very strong and they last for long without repair. And it matches also with our outfit culture. These are modern. This is not my real hairs, but this is how the warriors normally back at the manyatas, their training camps. This is how they are going to build their hairs and smear a very special ochre, the red ochre. It looks so magical.
Away from the allure of the Maasai culture, a visitor would be interested in understanding the personality of this world-renowned community.
For the case of this one, this is a talking pace club, the beaded one. This is used to speak. Whenever you are talking with the congregation of people, this is what you use, just to bring their attention and show that the message that you want to pass through is a peaceful one. But it's also got another different meaning, because when one hold like this is shows that you're ready to protect yourself, because also we do this as a protection.
The Maasai remain a unique community that are stuck to their culture. It is not just about the jewelry that you would take home with you. There are other beautiful artifacts made by the Maasai community, such as these souvenirs, one that you would either take home with you for remembrance or you give your other significant person for memories to keep. Irene Mchuma Udim, Magical Scenes in the county of Narok. A safari to Kenya's Masai Mara National Reserve in Narok County would be one of a kind experience.
It's my 5th time in Kenya, but I've never been to the Mara, so I'm very excited about the Mara and hopefully to see the migration. We've got actually, I think Saturday morning, a balloon reservation. Hopefully we can get down low to see the migration.
What are the expectations when you go back to the United States?
I've been posting every day on Facebook all my experiences, so a lot of my friends have seen all these pictures, and certainly many of them are jealous and say, this is something they want to do as well.
Visitors to the Mara are largely interested in the wildebeest migration.
Sasa the migration is happening, na pia ile tunaitanga crossing, wanavuka Mara River kwenda ngambo hiyo nyingine ya Mara Triangle ama kutoka Triangle kuja pande nyingine ya Greater Mara. Tunashukuru kwa yote ambayo hiyo migration yenye inafanyika, kwa sababu inaweza kuwaleta wageni kutoka sehemu nyingi kote duniani.
More than 1.5 million wildebeest and zebras have crossed the Mara River from the southern part of the national park, creating such a spectacle. At the end of the rainy season in June, the wildebeest from Tanzania's Serengeti National Park joined their equals at the Masai Mara National Park.
It started on the 14th of July. To be precise, 7:30 a.m. crossing from St. River. I can say we have experienced a big number of wildlife migration than there before. The migration came through all of the usual areas they used to come through to the Mara years back. Migration is all over. This is the time I'm sure they will enjoy themselves. And you can have where to put up, or you put up in Narok and come for a day game drive. We love that.
I have had so many people saying that Mara has changed. It's because, again, the efforts the county government is putting to making sure that our guests enjoy their time. So I can tell you that the season is looking pretty good.
The wildebeest, also called gunus, are members of the antelope family. A wildebeest can grow to 2.4 meters in length and weighs up to 270 kilograms. For most of their lives, wildebeest graze in the grassy savannas and open woodlands of the plains which straddle the nations of Tanzania and Kenya. However, the search for greener pastures does not come without danger. The migration route crosses rivers which are mostly infested with Nile crocodiles. The Masai Mara also hosts members of the Big Five, among them lions. This is also a good spot for bird watching.
Seen a great increase in the numbers as compared to even last year, and it's growing well. And so far, occupancies are looking good all the way to November. And if all goes well, I think this will be the best year since COVID.
Your experience at the Masai Mara National Reserve might be different anytime you come to this part of the country. This is supported by the favorable weather conditions and also the ecosystem inside and outside the Mara National Reserve. There is the breeding season, the calving season, and now the wildebeest migration, which is spreading all through to September. Irene Mchuma Odim, magical scenes at the Masai Mara National Reserve in the county of Narok. A hot air balloon safari is something to yearn for as long as you don't have a phobia of heights. This is the Mara Triangle, a destination adjacent to the Masai Mara National Reserve, and is also known for rich wildlife and vegetation besides the wildebeest migration spectacle. More than 1 million wildebeest have crossed the Mara River from varied points into the Masai Mara National Reserve from Tanzania's Serengeti National Park. Nevertheless, this team of visitors was at the Mara Triangle for a magical sky experience at dawn. The captain of the hot air balloon issues a brief to the passengers.
You have to look straight, lean back. This is the correct position, okay?
He talks to them about the expectations and challenges they may encounter up the skies. This is done as early as 5 a.m. Thereafter, you can serve yourself a hot drink depending on your choice ahead of the intended safari. It is one of the experiences at the Mara, outstanding experience, one that I'm doing for the first time with lots of expectations. Out of curiosity, you may wonder why is the hot air balloon safari encouraged to take place in the early morning? Well, this is because the balloon movement is dependent on the weather, and this would also serve well for any tourist interested in capturing the sunrise glow in the distant horizon. The passengers sail above the wildlife habitat. This is a beautiful experience to witness the intricacies of the Mara ecosystem and the harmonious coexistence of the vibrant flora and fascinating fauna. This would be a lifetime experience to appreciate the spectacular magnificence of wild Africa. The hot air balloon flight lasts approximately an hour and a half and is followed by breakfast at the location of the landing. And to understand the ticketing of the balloon air safari, meet Justin Emunyi of the Skyship.
Talk about those registrations to the guests, they will not understand. So we normally use these cans, which are called boarding cans. If you can have a look at this can, this one, it is a rhino. It has got a rhino, a picture of a rhino. Different to this other one, which has got a picture of a lion. So when they come in the morning, we put them in different groups, and one group will give it a rhino, an elephant, or even a crocodile. We've got some others. So, and we'll call that group a crocodile or a lion. So when the pilot is going to fly, he will say, all my crocodiles to come here, or all my lions to come here, or all my elephants to come here. And it will be very easy for them to be classified.
Justin goes further to explain how the captain of the hot air balloon knows of his landing spot even before he takes off.
These are called pie balloons. They are used by the pilot to know the direction of the wind. Yeah. Now, I'll release one of them. It's filled up with helium. Helium is a very light balloon, so when I release it, it will be taken up by helium. And have a look.
All said and done, a hot air balloon safari offer is available during both the high season in the tourism calendar as well as the low season.
We are situated on the Mana Triangle, which is it's not heavily congested. We have a few lodges and camps, but you get to see everything. It is very easy to get the big five in a day. Not that they are like somewhere, but it's easy to get that, unlike the Greater Mara.
Erin Mchuma Odem, magical scenes at the Mara Triangle in the county of Narok.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2024. UFAA. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
I'm starving. Are you starving as well?
I'm also starving, but I'm so starving for your love.
Oh,
Hey, Mwalimu, you're going to teach us in a kaptura.
Is there a problem with it?
Young man, you will die very poor.
Slap me again, my love. But say you love me.
Not even in your dreams. Shame on you.
Odzote zilingia, Buddha. Zilingia.
You see? How much did you make?
Enough to make a lasting impression.
What about it, Jeb?
He told me to bet call.
Nadhani umefika muda wa kurudi kwa wazazi wangu na mwanangu Maya. Hapa haya ni maji ya shingo na nimeshindwa kabisa kuyaogelea.
Mimi naweza chapwa na mwanamke mimi. Huyo basi.
Hata wewe mtu mzima haujui kuchunga mzigo wako. Shauri yako.
Kangari chunga mai ichunga bulwale bulesembe kangari nywe
Welcome to Buteo Meat Park in Bungoma County, one of the last talked about tourist destinations in the country. Buteo Meat Park, sitting on at least 10-acre piece of land, is forested with indigenous trees. The indigenous trees give beauty and color at the Buteo Meat Park. The willow oak tree has its leaves change color in the fall. The sweet bay magnolia tree is simply beautiful in full bloom in the spring. From birds nesting in their branches to insects finding refuge in their trunks, these indigenous trees arguably create thriving ecosystems. Nevertheless, these botanical wonders not only add beauty to the environment but also play a key role in preserving cultural heritage and combating climate change. The forest at Buteo Meat Park is home to 400 species of birds, including the ostriches. This is also home to lions, crocodiles, among other wildlife. The zoo provides educational opportunities for would-be visitors to learn about different species and ecosystems.
Tuko na monkey, tuko na crocodile, tuko na tortoise. Buteo pia tuna ni lodging. Buteo kuna msitu, kuna miti ya kienyeji, kuna pia madawa ya kiasili. Ni makavazi ya kitambo, imeweka wanyama na watu wanaipenda sana. Huwa wanakuja hapa, wanalipa pesa kidogo, wanaona wanyama, wanafurahia mazingira yake. Na pia msitu huleta mvua huku si kama the other part of Kenya penye kuna ukame, kuna maji, kuna mvua bado.
The visitors would perhaps gain knowledge in understanding the diversity of nature besides having fun with attractions like animal shows and interactive exhibits. Irene Chuma Odim had things in the county of Bungoma. Busia County can be accessed by air, water and road. The road from Busia town to Isambo Beach has long stretches with amazing scenery. It would take you an hour at the most to arrive at Isambo Beach from Busia town. Isambo Beach sits comfortably on the shores of Lake Victoria, opening up to the expansive sight of the water body. The beach is tucked between the hills of Singwe and Mwita on the Kenya-Uganda border. The hills are noticeably charming with natural surroundings and views. Picture this, an afternoon in a rural setup where you can enjoy the product of the beach, at the same time enjoy the scenery that comes with the hills around these destinations, including birding. A sneak peek on what to do at Isambo when on a visit reveals repeat visitors at the lake prefer kayaking at the open lake, with some opting for boat sailing, swimming at the lake, while some appreciate relaxing by the lake for a lifetime memory.
Urembo wenyewe unaonekana, pengine mwenye asiyekuwa tuna uwezo wa kuona ndiye atasema hii nafasi si ya kupendeza, lakini nafasi nzuri sana kwa sababu kuna hewa safi, kuna muonekano wa maji, mandhari yako sawa. Ukikaa hapo unaweza ona island, Sumba Island pale. Kuna mambo mengi pia kupendeza. So kwa hivyo tunapenda sisi kama watu wa area hii, tunapenda kuja hapa kutulia. Kidogo sasa unajua mambo ni mengi ya dunia, lakini sisi tunapenda kuja hapa kutulia. Kuja hapa una relax kweli.
Island boat rides and sport fishing are additional expeditions at play along Isambo Beach. Isambo Beach, christened the jewel of Lake Victoria, hosts the annual Isambo International Beach Carnival, the festival in the calendar of the people of Abanyala in Busia aims at celebrating the community's natural resources and culture.
We also have beach sports, beach football, and our famous boat, St. Helena.
Irene Mchuma Udim, Magical Scenes in Busia.
Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. You're watching This Check live from Broadcasting House. This is our national headquarters. My name is O'Brien Kimani. The big news of the day, we are keeping an eye on what's happening at the Milimani Law Courts, where the petitioners and the respondents in the case involving the impeachment motion against the former deputy or the impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is expected to take place in a minute from now. And now we want to take you to the High Court, where our court reporter Ruth Wamboi is on standby to give us an update on what exactly is happening and the status of the hearings, if any. Ruth Wamboi, if you can hear me, kindly take it up and give us the update.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, O'Brien Kimani, back from the studio here at Milimani's High Court. We're still following up on the matter of the embattled Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's case, whereby today, as scheduled by the bench yesterday, in this morning session, you are waiting for them to come in so that parties can discuss on what transpired during the National Assembly and also during the Senate. And I do not want to preempt on what the parties will discuss, but I have the petition from the petitioner side, the Law Society of Kenya, represented by Emeritus Nelson Harvey, and also have from the respondent side, I have Professor Atom Ojenda. So I just want Nelson Harvey to tell us what some of the issues that they are going to raise when the bench comes on board. Welcome, Nelson Harvey. Can you tell us what are some of the issues that you're going to raise?
Well, first and foremost, I appear for the Law Society of Kenya, yes, who is an interested party and not a petitioner.
Yesterday, when we left court, the court had made two directions. One was that the two applications seeking to disqualify the bench will be heard today at 2:30. In the meantime, at 9 a.m. this morning, the bench is supposed to come and deal with the issue of consolidation of the various petitions that have been filed. Remember, there are two cohorts. The first cohort is the one that was filed before the decision by the National Assembly and the Senate to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. The second cohort of petitions are the ones that have been filed subsequent to the decisions of the National Assembly and the Senate, and the further decision of the National Assembly approving the appointment of Professor Gideon Kithure to replace Rigathi Gachagua as Deputy President. Now, this morning, the expectation is that the judges will give directions as far as putting together all these files is concerned, with the expectation that we'll have either one or two lead files that will be used to take proceedings.
And from the Law Society of Kenya, being an interested party in this matter, what have you that would you maybe to tell the bench?
Well, as the Law Society, our interest is the public interest. And throughout these proceedings, there are two fundamental issues that we want to address the court on. One is public participation. As we speak right now, the public participation bill is still lying torpid somewhere. It is imperative that we have a Public Participation Act that will guide the manner in which public participation is supposed to be undertaken. That's number one. Number two, there may be need for there to be the impeachment of the President and the Deputy President Act, because we do not have an elaboration over and above the mere pillars given in the Constitution on how this is supposed to be undertaken. And going forward, it would be good to have legislation so that whoever is undertaking this process can have a yardstick, and whoever is challenging the process can also have a yardstick to say these are the parameters in respect of which the inquiry for the removal of the President or the Deputy President ought to have been undertaken, and it was undertaken. As we speak right now, much of this process has gone on. Those two areas are one that appear a little bit blurred, and in respect of which legislation is required.
Thank you so much. We don't preempt everything here from the bench when the court comes in. O'Brien Kimani is still not yet finished. I have Professor Tom Ojenda, who will represent the side of the respondents, and they also have issues that they are going to raise when the bench comes to sit in. And just to bring on board Professor Tom Ojenda from the respondent side to say what are some of the issues that they are going to raise when the bench starts its sitting officially. Welcome, Professor.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The application is by the applicants. So we'll wait and respond. We will not raise it. Yeah, we'll wait and listen to the grounds and respond. Yeah, we're ready. I think our interest is to discharge the interim orders so that Professor Kindiki can be sworn in as Deputy President. I think what is clear is that the impeachment is final. That is, I understand it's final. And Article 155 says that it is final. And there's no turning back. Professor Kindiki should be sworn as quick as yesterday, because this country cannot go on without a president. We must have that. That's a concern.
Just before I let you go, Professor, yesterday we heard from the bench when the petitioners said that they are not satisfied with the bench as it is because it sat on a Saturday. And then the bench said that the applicants or the petitioners are raising issues when things do not go their way. And it said also when they got the conservatory orders, it's like they got settled. From your side, who you want, I know from your side you want the orders set aside. So what's your move? Because maybe from their direction they want this matter to delay. What do you have to say about that, and what will be your response from your side?
It is the delay that we avoid, and that is why we want the application for setting aside to be heard, because any delay affects the public interest. public interest is that position is important that should be fair. And parties cannot have limited orders, temporary orders, and avoid the substantive decision hearing the applications are decided. That is why we will ask the government to prioritize that application, so that after hearing this proposal, go straight to the application process. The other matters can be determined.
O'Brien, we have clearly listened. That's some of the issues that are going to be raised up when the bench starts sitting officially today. From the respondent side, you hear they want the application for setting the conservatory orders aside be given priority. Whereas, yes, from the petitioner side, you heard yesterday what they want. Back to you, O'Brien. We'll update you more as they happen.
That's our court reporter, Ruth Wamboi, at the Milimani Law Court, where she's tracking the happenings there. We are waiting for the arrival of the 3-judge bench, which is expected to hear the respondents as well as the plaintiffs on that issue. And so we are definitely keeping an eye. And of course, those are some of the issues that we shall be discussing here. And of course, our big conversation this morning is around the upcoming Conference of Parties 29, which is happening in the city of Baku, Azerbaijan. And critical issues are going to be discussed, which are going to define the world of climate change in the years to come. And of course, that's a conversation that we are going to have here. I'm about to unveil my list of guests. But before we do that, I would just want to hear from Mithika Mwendwa. He's a governance expert and also the Executive Director at the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. He's joining us this morning. First of all, I want to pick up your brains on what is happening in the courts. I mean, this impeachment motion, I mean, it has taken, more time than everyone was expecting. And of course, the argument before the court. What do you make it? What do you make out of this?
I want first of all to have a disclaimer, because I've had a very heated debate with some lawyers. This is, the territory of lawyers. Mm-hmm. So the showdown and everything. So they may not want a person like us, mm-hmm. Who are not lawyers, to be part of this conversation. Yeah. But more importantly is really looking at what has been happening since, actually not even since the impeachment, but overall the whole conversation. It is testing the maturity of our democracy and institutions, our courts, mm-hmm. the separation of powers within the 3 arms of the government, that is the parliament, that is judiciary, and of course the executive. So as concerned Kenyans, as a human rights activist, as one of the people who actively participated in the birthing of the new 2010 Constitution. Mm-hmm. We have confidence of our institutions, and we hope that justice will be delivered on either side. Mm-hmm. So that is what we are looking at. And secondly is about of course, everything is about politics at play. Yeah. I don't want to relate at this, because I am currently a climate change activist, but of course, mm-hmm. it happens. Climate change is about everything. It's about governance, mm-hmm. which we have. It's about economies of the country. It's about the socio cohesion. All these things actually have interplay. They have bearing on everything which we do. When we talk about the implementation of the NDC's National Determined Contribution, yeah. then our obligation under the Paris Agreement and our strategy, National Climate Change Strategy, and everything, all of them actually requires a stable government, requires stability, a stable governance. And so, as other Kenyans are keen, as other Kenyans are concerned about what is happening, because you cannot ignore it. Actually, the country is polarized, deeply polarized, unless we bury our hand into the sand like that proverbial ostrich and assume that, fine, we want to kick out the Rigiji and that's all, there will be no repercussions. I think we are at a very critical moment, a polarized country. You know, we have other challenges which we have to address, which the government has to address. In a way, I can assure you that that is going to affect that, whatever the outcome at the court.
There will be some repose.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, as you rightly put it, I mean, you know, a quiet climate, a political climate, you know, is also good for investment. It's good for the development of a country.
Yes.
And so is the desire, you know, of each and every Kenyan that, you know, this issue is resolved amicably and as quickly as possible so that people can go back to their normal lives. And before now we delve into the issues at hand this morning, what is your message to, you know, the thousands of or millions of Kenyans, I mean, who are watching, you know, the proceedings before the court and wondering, I mean, what is happening in that country?
I think what inspires me, again, as a citizen, as a proud Kenyan, is actually the tenacity of our institutions. You remember there was a very hurried, you know, kind of way of ensuring that things happen quickly. But, you know, the court slammed the brakes. And that actually tells you the country which we are. I don't believe this could have happened in other countries, including in Zimbabwe, where she comes from. In fact, she watches it and she enjoys the democratic space with which we have. So it is our role, wherever I am, whether I come from the village, from the organization which I work, from where I sit, I think we need to protect our democracy. That's the bottom line. And so, whether, and this is the responsibility of everybody, whether it's a judge, advocate from both sides, and those who are concerned, we expect justice to be delivered, whether to Rigiji and to those who impeached him. Of course, they are calling it a political process, but I hope the bench will go beyond that. Yes.
Very good.
And don't forget that I also come from Lima. so I also have my opinion.
Yes.
We are also interacting with people in the Lima, and we are really, of course, it's very, people are not even divided. There is a lot of concerns, and I don't want to say which side I am, but really, it is a big concern in the so-called Mlima. Yes.
I mean, when you go back to the Mlima, people just tell them that, I mean, everything is well, the economy is doing well, and these issues are going to be handled politically and legally, and we'll definitely go back to business.
Them. They know, you know, everybody sees. You know, all of us Kenyans, the level of consciousness with which we are operating now, everybody knows. Actually, people are meant, even their minds. You saw during the public participation, you saw what was happening. So everybody, you know, have their opinion whether you are small. That's the beauty of Kenya, that you are allowed to really articulate yourself without any repercussions. And that is what I would actually want and urge the KK government to uphold. Political tolerance, you know, is very, very important. We don't need to agree. But you have the majority will always have their way. But also we need to give the minorities their say. Yes.
Very good. I mean, Memory Kachambwa is the executive director at the Femnet, which is an NGO that deals with championing the welfare of women and children. You're from Zimbabwe, and Mithika Daktari has said something that this does not happen in Zimbabwe. When you look at this whole thing that is exploding and happening, you know, before our eyes, and when you're talking to your families and relatives and friends in Zimbabwe, what do you tell them?
I think we look and watch and learn. I think it's just not about, it's also for Africa. You know, I think it's how Africa is actually defining its democratic governance. And I think Kenya has been one of the bench-setting countries in terms of how they deal with their democratic space, having the liberty to use the court system, the legal system, to use as much of the means and uphold their constitution. So I think it's for Africa to be able to also look at what does it mean when countries have a constitution and they are using that constitution, they are using the legal means to ensure that there's voice from the people. So I think it's a time of liberation for the continent.
Yes.
And I think it's good to be in Kenya at such a time where we are able to also really look at having look at the different constituencies come together. And of course for me, coming from the women's movement, it would be like, we're not hearing a lot to say, can we have what we call a zebra system where, you know, in some countries, if one leader is a male, then the second is a female. So for us, that is what we'll be hoping to say. We want to have more African women as leaders and really support women to be out there and to be able to take the leadership positions. But I think it's great to also see the young people. I think it's one thing to see young people being able to have a voice. We are seeing some of the lawyers who are presenting, some of the legislators. I think the Kenya Parliament also has a lot of legislators who are also young. So also seeing that voice, because I think governance affects everyone. So the continent is watching.
The continent is watching. And I think before I allow you in, Dr. Mithika, the beauty of this is that what is unfolding before our eyes is the fact that we are seeing this battle of wits being fought in the corridors of justice as opposed to the street, where tunnels of events can be unpredictable, and that's the beauty of the Kenyan democracy, whereby there is clear roles of the judiciary, the executive, and of course the parliament, and so we are seeing it being displayed, where parliament is saying this is our forte, this is our turf. Then you have the judiciary saying, yes, we agree with you, this is what you're doing, but also this is also our area. And so it's going to be a very interesting conversation going forward. And as you're saying, I mean, Kenya is setting up the pace. It has never happened in Africa. So Kenya has set the pace. And of course, I'm sure, so many Africans are going to picking up, a few lessons and here and there. And what you said about giving women more voices, in the leadership space. I remember, I think it was last year, where President William Ruto proposed that in the future, we should have a situation whereby if the president is a male, then the deputy should be a female, and vice versa. And so I can see you want to say something, Mithika?
I think for your information, I've always been agenda champion. I'm one of the few men feminists. So I've been with I think it is I think we need really everyone. We need whether it's affirmative action, which Kenya has tried, like this constitution. Even one of the key questions which were being asked by this when even the attorneys for the Rigiji initially during the impeachment process at National Assembly was whether that parliament is properly constituted, because there is a law which says that within a particular time after the 2010 constitution, we need that parliament to really ensure that it has a balance between the genders. And that has not been done. So somebody was questioning that. In fact, should this be an illegal parliament operating, without also talking about the questions which were being asked about the same parliament that it was impeached on June 25th, when there was it was overrun by Kenyans. So there are so many questions, but those are some of the fundamental issues which a society needs. we have come to realize that, it is very difficult sometimes to implement. And that is the question of policy implementation has been really the biggest obstacle to even development in this country. But not even the space which we are, even at African level, we have got very brilliant ideas, very brilliant policies, very brilliant strategies. But when it comes really to implementing them, then it becomes zero. And those are the questions which we should be asking ourselves. Should we be having policy after policy without implementation? How do we focus on implementation more than that framing? Because one thing which is very important as a public policy expert is that the policy does not end into just framing. It ends up to the level of implementation. When you are framing, you are putting together, so you need to really think about implementation. But that is not what happens. So you see our partners, the development partners.
And even after implementation, you go to the next stage of evaluation.
Evaluation, so that you understand whether this was done. So we just move to pick very, very quick, low-lying fruits. But the hard questions, the hard things which are supposed like that, the question of gender has never been addressed. And so, and you see, many people are really wondering whether the refugee issue is even a national issue or a priority issue. Are we thinking about the NSSF chief crisis? Are we thinking about the education crisis? Are we thinking about other things which are really very pertinent, the Diani issue and all those, whatever they are saying, all this? So you see, when you look at Kenyans, they have their own opinion on what really should be the priority for our leaders. But as it happened in June 25, what culminated into June 25, it's really imperviousness of our leaders really to listen to the people. That's the most important thing, and that is the issue which we want really to address. I think that people understand what they want, and they're seeing what is happening. So as I'm telling you, they have their own opinion. Is this a priority or not the priority? Of course, to the political class, of which sometimes I can remove my hat of the executive director of Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance and become also as more politicians at the village where I come from. And also, I have an opinion that this thing really needs to be handled very well. Of course, we have reached a situation where it's a point of no return. There are things need to be settled. We have, everyone is saying we have 2 deputy presidents. So who do we have? This is the court which is, Kidiki is my friend. We studied with him in Moi University. So we have been together. We have seen all things. I'm very happy for him to being the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. But then there are many fundamental things which really we need to look into for this country to thrive. One thing is we need really tranquility. We need peace. But at what expense are we going to have that peace? Of course, every time we are reminded, look now, I have friends in Sudan. You will know the Professor Shadan, your friend, whom you meet every time during the COP. Most of those guys have fled their country because of that actually insecurity there, because of the conflict. We have many countries, Liberia coming out of Somalia here, more than almost 40 years, has never had a government. So it is not a good song to hear that we disintegrate. There is conflict. Conflict engulfs everything, even the things which we are talking about here, even the talk show which we are having here will never be there. So we need, our leaders need to be very careful, and really we need these conversations, and we need really leadership. Political leadership is very, very important.
And of course what we call political maturity, and to put Kenya first, before anything else. I mean, those are some of the conversation we are having here. Remember, we are keeping an eye at the Milimani law courts, where the 3 judge bench is expected to sit in a moment from now to listen to various arguments which are going to be floated by the lawyers representing various parties. And so we have our reporter there, Ruth Wambui, who has just given us an update as to what is happening. Remember, the bench was supposed to sit as from 9:30 up to now, which is what, and we are talking about 11:12, almost 11:15. The bench has not yet trooped into the courtroom, and so we're also keeping an eye to see exactly whence they come. We shall take you there so that you can listen to the proceedings there. And also today we're also having the conversation around the COP29. Remember, it is taking place in the city of Baku, Azerbaijan. We are talking about 15 days from now. The conversations that are going to take place there are going to be very critical in shaping the world of environment and the future of our world. So it's going to be a critical meeting. It has always been, of course, where world leaders, they converge. Last year, the world leaders converged in the UAE, to be precise, the city of Dubai, where various agreements were reached. And of course, we're also keeping an eye to see what exactly will come out of the COP29. My bench this morning is fully constituted. We have, allow me to check, we have Dr. Mithika Mwenda. He's the Executive Director at Pan-African Climate Justice, joining us this morning. And of course, Memory Kachambwa, she's the Executive Director at Femnet. And joining us right now is Susan Otieno, who is also the Executive Director of Action Aid International Kenya. The beauty about this morning is that I am joined by executives. Everyone here is an executive. I think I should also get a title, executive anchor, so that all of us, can have that executive title. Susan, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Before you joined us, we were breaking bread and trying to understand, everything that is happening in our courts, with these Gachagua impeachment and so much. And we are trying to plead with Kenyans that, hey, look here, this is a political process. It has now taken a legal turn, and things will be sorted out. We should go back to our business. We have a country to develop. We have a country to love. We have trees to plant. We have rivers to take care of, and we have each other to love. What is your message to Kenyans?
Yeah, thank you so much. One thing that we need to realize as a country, that there are bigger issues beyond personalities and individuals to achieve. If you look at what's happening globally, everyone is looking towards COP29.
Yeah.
And the big question is, how much have we invested to prepare ourselves to be there, to prepare ourselves to really negotiate for what will work for us, to prepare ourselves to ask questions around what has not worked. If you committed to be giving 100 billion a year towards climate financing, what have you given? Mm-hmm. If they are claiming they met the in 2022 they got more than 100 billion, but clearly 70% of it is loans. So why do we only get 30% in grants? What is the conversation ahead of us? As a country, sometimes we get derailed. We focus on individuals. We focus on issues that can be determined using the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And it's because we operate in impunity. And so once you operate in impunity, the critical issues will bypass you, because you want to show how you can push people around. And we are seeing it in everything. We are seeing it. We saw it in the finance bill. Allow me to go back there. People were pushed to the edge. And today, as we are talking, deaths are pushing us to the edge. So there are critical issues that this country can truly focus on. If the decision was made, fine, that the deputy president has been impeached, let us move to the next level. But also not forgetting that whatever reasons caused him to be impeached should also be looked at across board. So we don't stop at the deputy president. We've not cleaned up. Mm-hmm. It's not just the deputy president. A government is made up of so many facets, so many entities. Let's look through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, we now want to get deep into the issues that brought us here. And of course, because we are keeping an eye to see what the legal minds will tell us about the merits and demerits of this impeachment motion. So the issues we want to discuss today is the COP29 and the road ahead. For the third time, the Conference of Parties is being held in an oil-producing country. That's right. Last year it was in Dubai. The economy there is largely supported by fossil fuels. And before that, the COP27, it was held in Sharm el Sheikh. Is a desert tourism city in Egypt. And this time around, it is taking place in Azerbaijan, Baku to be precise. And so, you know, there has been many theories. What is happening? Why are we having, you know, the critical climate meetings being held in countries whose economies are driven by oil? That's a question I want to hear. I want to pose to Dr. Mithika Mwenda.
Yeah. So I think I have been part of this process for quite more than a decade. And just that's, you know, an operational issue. Even before we go, it's I could call it a geopolitical issue and a geostrategic issue. What really determines at the UNFCCC who hosts the COP is, you know, a UN process where there must be rotations. It's rotational. There is the time for Africa. There is also just regional. It has to be hosted. And so what determines then that is, first of all, the capacity of that particular country to host. And the question is drawn to that particular region. Like now, it was the time for Eastern Europe. And there was a very heated debate. You know, geopolitically, the main countries which could have really hosted there, maybe we could have held it in St. Petersburg or Moscow. It has been held in Poland for around 4 times because of the same issue that many countries in that region do not come out, you know, to take up the initiative. And sometimes there is a time when it was supposed, you remember, when during the time of I think it's COP, one of the previous COPs, which a Caribbean country was unable to host it in that country, then it was reverted back to Germany, the headquarters of UNFCCC. So there are issues which surround this. And so, in terms of then the Azerbaijan, we were part of this discussion in Dubai, and the question was that who is going to host? And there are countries which were floated, and Russia, you know, is a member of UN, is a member of UNFCCC, and facing a lot of sanctions because of the invasion of Ukraine.
16,500 sanctions.
16,500, and there should be more. And so there was a talk, in fact, to host the COP in Ukraine. You know, some decisions are held, are done through consensus. So that country called Russia could not have allowed. Actually, it's an insult, you know. The magnitude of that meeting coming to that country, to that region, which Russia believes that it's fiefdom, you know, geopolitically, that it must give a nod. And so what happened actually was Azerbaijan came out. So if you look at the positioning of Azerbaijan, between, it is just at the tip of Middle East. It borders Iran, and also it is in Europe, Eastern Europe, and so its conduct politically has been very neutral, you know. So I think that for that matter, it was a compromised country. So the question of whether then it was at the end that capacity to host then came later on. Really, yes, it can, but you remember that even delegations have been reduced. It's a small country. That's what we are grappling with, because it cannot host really that much. You know, in Dubai, we had 80,000 delegates. So each in all our delegations, including even some governments, have been reduced. We are not going to have that large delegations because of that, because the country has said we have a small space, but we are going to facilitate.
And the fact of the matter is that the conference is being held in a stadium.
Yes.
I mean, because they don't have a huge international convention center that can host that.
Yes.
But I want to turn to Susan here. Dr. Mithika is saying that this is an administrative issue. Do you agree with him, or do you see a strategic decision to have COP meetings in oil-producing countries? Because, I mean, would you then argue the same for Dubai? Would you argue the same for Sharm el-Sheikh?
Thank you. I think we need to recognize the element of capacity and ability to host, as he said. But what is also very critical is to ensure that if you're hosting, then the presidency is with you as a country. How well are you able to move from national context and focus on global issues? How well are you able to facilitate global conversations? So we are hoping that even as we go to Baku, despite the fact that it's an oil-producing nation, we are hoping that the global south can be heard in terms of climate financing, that we do not want loans, we want grants. We are hoping that they will facilitate an environment that will enable the polluters to listen to the non-polluters. We would call Africa non-polluting. We are hoping that they can see the world through, they can put on the lenses, not just the national lenses, but they can put on a global lens. So for me, whether it is in Baku or not, the bigger question is that this COP, if we're going to focus on financing, let it help us get out of corporate capture that we are seeing. So that would be my question to the presidency. So have you facilitated this? Yeah.
So for you, the issue is not so much more about the venue, but the outcomes of the conversations there.
Exactly.
I want to hear from you,
Memory.
Yeah, okay, let me call you Memory. Akinyi is fine. Yeah, Memory. Look, one of the critical issues that is going to be discussed in this meeting is climate financing. And more so, as Susan is saying, how more finances can trickle down to the global south, which unfortunately is the most affected by the vagaries of climate. What do you expect to hear from the meetings?
So one of the things is this COP is going to come up with a new collective quantified goal. So it's coming up with a new goal in terms of finance. Over the past COPs, we've been battling with the 100 billion commitment, which was never met. So we were together in Glasgow for COP, where we were actually saying, where is that 100 billion? And what the discussions were, the countries which were supposed to actually pay, because one, they are the polluters, they have the highest carbon emissions, and three, is also what we are also calling reparations. You see, Africa has got the least in terms of the carbon emissions. Our terms of production, in terms of industrialization, is very low. And we actually have the brunt of the whole global climate crisis. Yet, we do not have the financing that allows us to be able to also transition. You know, we're talking about all this green transition, to be able to be at par and to actually get out of this climate poverty that we find ourselves as developing countries. So what we are expecting is to really have candid discussions. And for the rich countries, I think Dr. Mithika likes calling them rich countries, but we are the ones who've made them rich. So we want countries to really own up into their commitments. We find that most of the time they are talking loans, like what, to increase the debt burden. And we know already on the African continent, we are already of all the countries that have defaulted on debt, it has been 4 African countries. So we're already either in debt distress or we are already in debt catastrophe. So we cannot have finance coming as more debt. We must have it in a way where it also allows us to be able to meet some of the goals, if it's in loss and damage, if it's adaptation. So the Africa group has actually been pushing very strongly in that debate, in the negotiations. And I think what is always disappointing is we already have countries which come just to ensure that there's no decision based on that because they do not want to commit. So
the so-called disruptors.
The disruptors, but they're disrupting in a way where we have a global crisis. We're in a poly-crisis as we speak. And we really need to have, not to waste a lot of time coming up with, okay, these are the technicalities of the new collective quantified goals, but to actually come with means of implementation and means of making sure that the money actually gets to the frontline climate activists, to the countries which are affected by the climate crisis. So we are really expecting to really have, I think from the Global South, we really are very much committed in terms of pushing for that, and we really want the global north and the rich countries to be able to own up, because what we need is really the financing on the ground.
I want to bring you on board, Dr. Mithika. I mean, you've been a champion of increasing adaptation finance here in Africa, and when you look at, for example, in 2022, Africa, which bears the brunt of the effects of climate change. I mean, it's received less than $25 billion US in terms of climate adaptation financing, and there has been clarion calls to increase these to even $100 billion. I mean, do you expect to see this happening in COP29?
COP29 is not a finance mobilization COP. It lays a broad framework on what is required for really, it's a conversation. And as he has mentioned, we in COP15 in Copenhagen in 2009, the global community agreed on first of all, there was something on short term, on the fast track, which when the President Obama was handing the United States. And so this, the fast track of 10 billion, which we never saw, which was to go to one year. And then, of course, now the infamous $100 billion US, which actually there was no...
Just a minute, we need to go to the Milimani Law Courts where I can see the bench is already seated. We'll be back. Just have a listen.
Of 2024, and Nairobi petition number E541 of 2024. The petitioners in those consolidated laws: 1. Rigathi Gachagua; 2. Obuli Namea; 3. Kennedy Kamithiu Gachege; 4. Dennis Okumu; 5. Simon Muchangi; 6. Peter Maina; 7. Gema Watho Association; 8. John Mugo Kiragu; 9. Njomo John; 10. Caroline Wambui Mwangi; 11. Dr. Clarence Eboso Mwaresa; 12. Wanjiru Mwangi. Those are the petitioners in cohort number 1. Respondents in that cohort are: 1. The Speaker of the National Assembly of Kenya; 2. The National Assembly of Kenya; 3. The Speaker of the Senate of Kenya; 4. The Senate of Kenya; 5. The Deputy Speaker, National Assembly; 6. Honorable Moses Masika Watangula; 7. Honorable Amason Kingi Jeffa; 8. Honorable Attorney General. The interested parties in that cohort are William Samoei Ruto; 2. Law Society of Kenya; 3. Mount Kenya Jurists. That is cohort number 1. Petition in cohort number 2, Nairobi petition number E565 of 2024, that is the lead file. Nairobi petition E550 of 2024. Nairobi petition E570 of 2024. Nairobi petition E572 of 2024. Kerugoya petition E013 of 2024, Kerugoya petition E014 of 2024, Kerugoya petition number E015 of 2024. The petitioners in those cohort 2 are as follows: H. Rigathi Gachagua, number 1. Number 2, Thomas Kimotho Maingi. Number 3, John Hon Jane Njeri Maina. 4, Hon David Munyi Mabenge. 5, Peter Gichobi Kamotho. 6, Grace Mudhoni Mwangi. 7, Clement Mchiri Murioki. 8, Edwin Munene Karioki. 9, Sheria Mtani na Shadrach Wambui. 10, Father Eddie Waiguru. From 10, you note that Father Eddie Waiguru is in the list of E570 of 2024, and there are 32 petitioners. So from Father Eddie Waiguru, we add all the petitioners in that petition, which come to 32, and ends with Gema Watho Association. Respondents in the court 2 are as follows: Speaker, National Assembly of Kenya. 3, Speaker, Senate. 4, Senate of Kenya. 5, Hon Attorney General. 6, H.E. William Ruto. 7, Clerk of the National Assembly. 8, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. 9, Hon Mwengi Mture. 10, United Democratic Alliance. 11, Orange Democratic Alliance. 12, Kenya Kwanza Alliance. 13, Ford Kenya Party. 14, Amani National Congress. 15, Registrar of the Political Parties. 16, Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. In that cohort, the interested parties are follows: the Law Society of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, Wiper Democratic Party, Jubilee Party of Kenya, Katiba Institute, Mount Kenya Jurist Association. And then Leslie Kituo Chasheria. Pursuant to those, we direct that all filings and service of documents shall be done electronically through the court's electronic portal in the respective court's lead files. Parties shall accordingly ensure that they are duly mapped into the system. The Honorable Deputy Registrar of this division shall assist if need be. Any counsel or party appearing in these petitions shall, before the start of any court proceedings, record such appearance in the quorum forms that shall be provided by the court assistants in this bench. Those appearing virtually shall as well log in and register their presence through the court assistants. As directed on 23rd of October 2023, any application in either of the cohorts seeking the recusal of the judges in this bench shall be heard today at 2:30 p.m. Those directions can be accessed in this court's electronic platform. These directions can be accessed in this court's electronic platform in the respective lead files. This court shall give further appropriate directions in the respective cohorts' lead files as and when necessary. Thank you very much. The directions subject to amendment which have come from you will amend it and then upload it.
Yes, my Lord, with your kind permission, if we may be allowed to address the court. Guided by the directions issued by the court, we however have one concern from our side, my lords. My lords, there are interim models in Kerugoya, and in our understanding, from our interpretation, once the file was referred to this court, the orders expire today. That's our understanding. My Lord, we are going to seek the court's guidance for application dated 18th October. Of course, we understand that there's a recusal application today, but given that those orders would expire on the appointed date, which is today, when the matter was meant to be mentioned, our colleagues' understanding, my Lord, is that the application, in the public interest, be prioritized so that we are able to hear the application for setting aside of those orders. In any event, my Lord, the orders in question were issued by one judge. The matter has now been referred to a 3-judge bench. Their nature is problematic, as mentioned by the court. And we would pray that in terms of aligning the hearing or scheduling the applications to be heard in cohort 2, that if possible, my lords, we do not want to do anything outside the law. We would request, my lord, that we be heard today if it's possible, because the orders expire today. I think my lord friend Eric Gumbo would just want to add something on that.
My Lord, very briefly, I wouldn't want to repeat what... my Lord, I just wanted to indicate that I would not want to repeat what learned Senior Counsel Professor Tom Ojenda has indicated, but just for completeness of record, there are 2 applications. There's one by the Honorable the Attorney General and one by the National Assembly dated the 18th of October 2024. We are ready for them as soon as you direct, my Lord.
My Lord, with your kind permission, Daniel Manzo, appearing for the Law Society of Kenya and also for Wiper Democratic Party, who are interested parties. My Lord, if the orders are to expire today, then that will be at midnight. My Lord, the day is not yet over. We have applications in the afternoon. We are also affected by those orders. And my Lord, I suggest after the applications today, then we can discuss that matter before the court adjourns. I thank you, my Lord.
My Lord, Kibe Mungai, on behalf of the petitioners, there are 2 issues. You can see the senior, the team leader, Honorable Paul Muite is not gas senior counsel. That is the first thing that we will deal with it in the afternoon. And as far as we are concerned, the matter is pretty much termination of that applications for the simple reason that the issue and an order had already been made that would be first dealt with by the court after its ruling of yesterday. Was the application for recusal. The other matters that relates to how we shall deal with the petition and we shall deal with all the applications, including the first application for conservatory orders. Those are matters that, as far as we are concerned, are supposed to be dealt with by the directions, by this bench if it continues, or by any other bench. And therefore, the issue, my Lord, of a back and forth on what is to be had first, the court has already ruled on that. And I believe we need to stick to that. And I am lamenting that even as we sat here, because we have started a little bit late, there is some work we still needed to do with regard to the applications for the afternoon. So we would like any other businesses that is supposed to be done when, for example, Paul Muite is in the afternoon, it will be dealt with the afternoon. But my Lord, on the directions, the actual directions that have been given by the court, there are 3 things actually that we would like our reactions on behalf of the petitioners. Number 1, my Lord, is that in giving these directions, we are understanding that the directions are being made pursuant to the rules, the rules of procedure that are applicable. My Lord, under the rules of procedure, a lot of the petitions that were filed before last Friday and the ones that were filed even on Friday last week are maturing their last dates for responses. My Lord, as we sit here, we are yet to receive any substantive responses to those petitions in either boards from the respondents. And that will have an impact on how soon we can be able to deal with the substantive matters. So, my Lord, I would be expecting that as a further direction, everybody would be required also to comply with the Mutunga rules to the full. Now, the second issue is that in all the petitions, the subject matter was the impeachment proceedings. The impeachment proceedings was culminating with the impeachment that was done last Thursday and the facts as they happened on Friday. A lot of these petitions would require some amendment so that they conform with the last position, so that they are not termed as academic. So that, my Lord, towards that, the petitioner, including in the petitions where I'm participating, we had requested formally that we would want 3 days to ensure that any amendments are carried out. And then the respondents will indicate, they have been saying they can do things within a day or two. They will indicate how much time they need to do the responses. Because, my Lord, that would assist in ensuring that whichever bench is going to hear and determine this matter would be able to give final directions. Because, as you have said, these are interim directions. In order to be able to determine issues for determination, and these are issues that we deal with when we are doing pre-trial, issues for determinations that are essential in a matter with so many parties, that would require close of pleadings. And the close of pleadings means that all the responses must be given. So that, my Lord, as far as today is concerned, I urge you respectfully that the first thing that can be forward is to ensure that the responses, in accordance with the Mutunga rules, will complete that journey. My Lord, if that is done, it is my view that we will be able to make some progress. In the meantime, my Lord, unless there is any other matter, because there was no other matter that was to be dealt with except directions, we would be happy to leave this place as soon as possible so that we are ready in the afternoon. We are most obliged.
Just before leaving.
Senior, because I'm on the same side, perhaps so you can have some response on it. Okay. Your Lordship, for purposes of clarity and for purposes of not addressing the gallery anymore, permit me to draw the attention of counsel for the Senate to the notice of motion that was filed in respect to the conservatory orders that were granted. The judge sitting in Kiruga, Your Lordship, was categorical that he granted prayer number C, even as we await senior counsel Paul Mweje to come in the afternoon. The wording of those prayers was so explicit that if my good professor had the opportunity of interacting with the document, which I believe he has not, would have come to the conclusion that the orders were drafted in this manner. That pending the hearing and determination, of this application inter parties, this honorable court be pleased to grant the orders that were granted. That is therefore to mean, Your Lordship, that question that senior counsel was raising has no sitting in the pleadings before you. Number two, Your Lordship, since we are here for mention and in the afternoon we are coming for the application for recusal, and I have heard the advocates for the respondents insisting on the urgency to hear the application for setting aside, Your Lordship, it is important for the court to note that that application is not predicated on any response. And therefore, if I were them, I would be seeking guidance on how to file their replies. Your Lordship, I hope you are following.
Following.
He doesn't seem to be following.
Why do you say that?
But
why do you say that?
But let me leave it at that.
No. Thank you. I think that is... Sorry, gentlemen. You cannot talk forever.
My Lord, on a very small issue, we do confirm that for His Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, as the petitioner, we have not received responses from the respondents. So it is important that first of all we get directions for the filing of responses, because as you speak now, we have not received those responses from the respondents. Then number two, my colleague Senior Kibe has raised issues on filing of responses, so that in 522 we had given an indication that we might require to amend our pleadings, so that before the ruling that was delivered by this bench, there was indication that we might require to amend the pleading. That is in petitions in cohort number 1, so that if the court can grant us leave, within 3 days those amendments can be done. And thereafter, this can also probably affect in some petitions cohort number 2. So it is important that we get that particular direction. Finally, my lords, this proceeding, because of the nature, the way they are proceeding, would request that probably we be provided with sequentially the transcribed proceedings, so that in case we require the proceeding at any time, those can be availed for purposes of good order. That is all.
With due respect to Council, we did not intend to make today this hearing a long hearing. Now we have read our directions, and I think you should let us wait for proceedings in the afternoon.
Sir, I have something to say. Number one, the petitioners cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. They are calling upon the respondents to file their responses. At the same time, they are seeking leave to amend the petitions. How would petitions that are to be amended be responded to when actually it should be the amendments that should come first and then responses follow? Number two, we brought to the attention of the petitioners that the interim order, one of the interim orders expires today, and the other one is the one we are complaining about, that it is actually aggrieving the respondents and should be set aside, the Kirogoya order. Therefore, we shall be delving into that as soon as it is practicable. And number three, the reason why we are here and from the day before yesterday is due to the applications that were filed on the 18th of October to set aside the ex parte conservatory orders. Therefore, that agency cannot be lost or cannot be clouded in whatever else they are saying. It is our position that we should actually proceed and be heard on why those conservatory orders should be set aside. Thank you. And
I apologize. We are ready to make issues. When I made an application for the to join, my Lord Justice Okola, you are very kind now. You promptly allowed my application. The project was to be joined, and also I was to be joined by my name. You have not mentioned this. If you would be kind enough.
In which petition? Which cohort?
This, I'm sorry, I don't have papers in this one.
Okay. We'll enjoy it. In your own name?
Yes, my own name. John Omakase. And of course, it was
So you are petitioner number 8?
No.
Interested party number 8?
Yes. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my Lord. We just want to restate the position that the urgency in this matter cannot be gainsaid or cannot be lost, my Lord. Under the contention that the replies have not been made, that we have not made the replies, is not correct because we have filed our responses. And my Lord, at the end of the day, the very led to the empanelment of these churches will actually be lost, because then we would be going back and forth, and at the end of the day, my Lord, we will not have served the greater public interest or the greater public good that led to the empanelment, which you made a determination yesterday, my Lord. We would urge that we be able to proceed and argue this matter conclusively and rest it once and for all.
Thank you. We are no longer accepting any further submissions. I'm saying this, that it is not for court to direct parties when to respond to pleadings. It is not for court to direct parties when to respond to pleadings. But one thing which I can assure you, that this bench will not allow anybody to take the process of court in circles. So if you have been served the document, whether petition, if you don't respond, the court is allowed to infer that you have no response. If a petition has been filed and you have not responded to it, the court will make inference that you have no response to that petition. And by the very nature of these proceedings, we all acknowledge that they are public interest proceedings. No party will be allowed to take the court in circles. So I ask you, respond to the pleadings, file your petitions, respond to them. Don't come and ask for leave in a manner to suggest that you want to take this court in circles. We'll meet at 2:30.
They are very keen on this setting aside.
That is it.
Nadhani umefika muda wa kurudi kwa wazazi wangu na mwanangu Maya. Hapa haya ni maji ya shingo na nimeshindwa kabisa kuyaogelea.
Mimi naweza chapwa na mwanamke mimi huyo basi.
Hata wewe mtu mzima haujui kuchunga mzigo wako. Shauri yako.
I'm starving. Are you starving as well?
I'm also starving, but I'm so starving for your love.
Hey, mwalimu, you're going to teach us in a kabutura.
Is there a problem with it?
Come on, you will die very poor. Slap me again, my love. Say you love me.
Not even in your dreams. Shame on you. Odzote zilingia Buddha. Zilingia. You see? How much did you make? Enough to make a lasting impression.
What about it, Jem?
He told me to bet call.
Waislamu, tuangalieni mambo ambayo kwamba yatasaidia katika umma, si kutenganisha umma, bali umma tuulete sehemu moja.
Kama Waislamu tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kuingia kwa Uislamu kwa ukamilifu wa kuingia katika Uislamu. Na vile vile pia tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kushikamana na kamba ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa umoja na tusiachane nayo hata pakitokea lolote ambalo linaweza kututenganisha.
Alima ma lam ta'lamu faja'ala min duni dhalika fatahan wa kahufuriya wa shani
ni nini iliongezwa?
Sasa ni nyinyi mtasema.
Wewe ndio utatuambia kwa sababu si wewe ndio ulikunywa.
Nasema sijui.
Si wewe ndio ulikunywa?
Juu siku zote ni nywe.
Wewe unaendaka huko kunywa pombe?
Wow. Asubuhi 6 in the morning niko huko.
That mess you know. Who put it inside there?
I cannot know.
Sasa yeye atajuaje? Were you there? Were you there?
No.
No. Did you touch us with methane?
No.
No. So what's wrong with you?
Unaweka mpaka panga yenye kutu ndani ya pombe. Hiyo
nasikia sasa kutoka kwake mheshimiwa.
Hiyo si ni mauaji, mnaua kiasi.
Uliniona nikipatia mtu pombe akunywe?
Siwe hiyo ni kazi yako, wewe anafanya hapo, wewe anabika.
Enga nisikilize vizuri.
Lakini mimi nilishangaa kusikia watu wanatoka hapo wakipelekwa Kenyatta na wakipimwa inapatikana mumeweka sumu ndani ya hiyo pombe. Hamuna utu, mnafaa kunyongwa.
Mzee, kielele ndio utawacha.
In a Japanese sushi restaurant, you're likely to hear a special way of ordering. Omakase, please. Omakase means you leave it up to the chef to decide what to serve. It comes from the Japanese word meaning to entrust. One of the joys of ordering omakase is that you never know what to expect. Here he's serving a special fish only available for a short period in summer. Very nice. The special taste of summer. Having the faith to put yourself in the trusted hands of an expert professional. That's what omakase is all about. This Tokyo resident uses an omakase service to buy vegetables each month. Because it's omakase, they never know what's in the box until they open it. All these vegetables are grown in Kochi Prefecture. A fat eggplant! This way I get vegetables I never see in my local supermarket. They're always delicious and fun to eat with my sons. Imakubo Koro is the man behind this service. Well watered and with year-round fine weather, Kochi is known for its quality food crops. The idea came to me on a trip to Kochi. The taste of the local vegetables here was simply unbeatable. Imakubo talked with many Kochi farmers before choosing those he knew he could completely rely on. This year the tomatoes are very fruity, have a great smell. When you give them to kids, they just can't stop eating them. Imakubo only chooses produce that he enjoys eating himself to supply to customers all over Japan. I want to give my customers foods that they've never had the chance to experience before. Kochi has all these amazing, unique flavors that I think should be more widely known. This bookshop in Hokkaido looks like any other. So why is it flooded with orders from all over Japan? Iwata Toru, the bookstore owner, runs an omakase service where he selects books for his customers. People write to him, describing their lives and talking about what books they have enjoyed so far. Iwata treats each letter very seriously. Tomomi wrote to Iwata about the worries that seemed to overwhelm her life. She tells me that she hasn't been able to emotionally break free from her parents, and she needs to do this in order to have her own independent life. That told me what kind of book to send her. For Hirae, Iwata selected this novel, a story about a group of female university students who overcome all kinds of problems in their lives. Books she'd never heard of before provided insights that helped Hirae find her way in life. I use a lifetime of experience as a bookseller to select the best for each customer. It's great to feel that they appreciate my efforts. In Japan, Omakase means far more than just curating services. It's a way of enriching people's lives based on relationships of trust.
The micro, small and medium enterprises are a critical cog in Kenya's socio-economic development. As a matter of fact, the government has identified this industry to be the deliverer of key projects under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. This week on Inside Government, we are talking to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of cooperatives and MSMEs development, Wycliffe Oparanya. Watch the conversation right here on KBC Channel 1 with me, O'Brien Kimani.
Nadhani umefika muda wa kurudi kwa wazazi wangu na mwanangu Maya. Hapa haya ni maji ya shingo na nimeshindwa kabisa kuyaogelea.
Mimi naweza chapwa na mwanamke mimi huyo basi.
Hata wewe mtu mzima haujui kuchunga mzigo wako. Shauri yako.
I'm starving. Are you starving as well?
I'm also starving, but I'm still starving for your love.
Hey, mwalimu, you are going to teach us in a kabutura?
Is there a problem with it?
Young man, you will die very poor. Slap me again, my love. Say you love me.
Not even in your dreams. Shame on you. Odzote zilingia Buddha. Zilingia. You see? How much did you make? Enough to make a lasting impression.
What about it, Jeb?
He told me to bet call.
Waislamu tuangalieni mambo ambayo kwamba yatasaidia katika umma, si kutenganisha umma, bali umma tuulete sehemu moja.
Kama Waislamu tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kuingia kwa Uislamu kwa ukamilifu wa kuingia katika Uislamu. Na vile vile pia tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kushikamana na kamba ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa umoja na tusiachane nayo hata pakitokea lolote ambalo linaweza kututenganisha.
Alima ma lam ta'lamu faja'ala min duni dhalika fatahan wa kahufuriya wa shani wa tuqufu hurul aini.
The Ministry of Energy and Petroleum puts the number of electric bikes and motorcycles at about 1,000 and counting, as the sector seeks a jump in popularity of electric mobility. Why are they popular?
There are certain things that the electric bike shares with the petrol bike. So for instance, things like the headlamp, the tail light, the indicators, those are shared across. Whatever is in a normal bike would be able to work here.
This is no typical motorcycle. It requires some sophisticated technology to run, as Arnold explains.
The battery is connected to a controller. The controller is a piece of hardware. You can reference it to an ECU in normal ICE vehicles or bikes or cars. So the ECU is what governs how the motor rotates. So when you change the angle of your throttle, it sends a signal to your controller, and then from your controller straight to your motor. So depending on that angle, it'll interpret as it'll send a signal to the controller, which will interpret it for a particular speed.
Sensors, wireless connectivity, battery management, and even artificial intelligence, which enables features like adaptive cruise control, collision avoidance, and predictive maintenance, controls this machine, and users are happy with the applications.
We'd be able to monitor battery temperatures for safety reasons. We can be able to monitor location, how quickly is the battery discharging over time, what distance were you able to cover, how long did it take to charge. Those are all parameters we're able to measure.
As the government pushes for more e-motorcycles to drive electric vehicles adoption and create jobs, there are a few considerations to consider in this space.
The biggest thing I think would be for people of monetary institutions, banks and such organizations, if they can be able to offer that support or be a bridge between us and the consumer, I think it would be able to speed up the adoption of this.
Kenya is currently looking to drive EV technology growth through an e-mobility sessional paper currently in the National Assembly. Alanauko, Tech One.
Kenya's technological landscape is dominated by financial technology or fintech, buoyed by a vibrant financial services sector due to widespread mobile money use. This is followed by agricultural technology or agri-tech, driven by growing value addition in the sector. However, health technology or health tech is also making headways.
We want to make sure that in the shortest period of time, when a doctor comes and see you, goes and see you, you go in and see the doctor, they can be able to easily diagnose you and give you the best treatment that they can. Doctor, in order for them to be able to offer the best treatment, they need to make informed decision, well-informed decision. Informed decision can only come with the right type of data.
Victor Njogona, the co-founder of Jungo Farm, who is trying to change this narrative, says there is need for holistic mindset change.
I think most people view health issues as things that happen to other people, as opposed to things that could happen to them, and hence they pay no attention. And also the people who conduct the business forget that they are also one or another consumers.
One thing that both Jungo Farm and Afya Record have in common is web-based technology that is unique to their respective services.
In just a short period of time, a report, for example, a summary that can tell them, oh, this patient is diabetic, has gone to the hospital 3 times over the last month, and they are allergic to this type of medication, will empower that doctor to give you the best care ever. So that's the problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to save lives using healthcare records.
Jungo Farm is a solution that we thought of that will be the bridge for the pharmaceutical supply chain, easing the processes of interaction between all the entities across the supply chain, from manufacturer to wholesaler to pharmacy to end consumer, but it's taking care of their specific needs of each entity.
The future of business is technology, but innovators also say that a critical mass of knowledgeable citizenry need to understand how they adopt this technology. Alanauko, Take One.
Waislamu, tuangalieni mambo ambayo kwamba yatasaidia katika umma, si kutenganisha umma, bali umma tuulete sehemu moja.
Kama Waislamu tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kuingia kwa Uislamu kwa ukamilifu wa kuingia katika Uislamu. Na vile vile pia tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kushikamana na kamba ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa umoja na tusiachane nayo hata pakitokea lolote ambalo linaweza kututenganisha.
Alima ma lam ta'lamu faja'ala min duni dhalika fatahan wa kahufuriya wa shani wa tuqufu hurul ayn.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
My name is Angel Pamela Atieno. I am a 12-year-old singer and an actress. I also play basketball and chess. I'm looking up to acting with really famous actresses like Lupita Nyong'o.
So you can imagine my surprise when I went shopping for a book and I found a book. I Love You This Much.
She sees cheese, she sees cheese, she sees cheese. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make fried cabbage. It's delicious, it's yummy, and it's so easy to make.
Hujambo mtazamaji, natumai ubuheri wa siha popote pale ulipo. Karibu tena kwa makala yetu ya Kurunzi Mashinani, ambapo tumekuandalia taarifa kutoka magatuzi mbalimbali humu nchini kwa lugha ashirafu ya Kiswahili. Jina langu ni Shila Kayaro Yogo. Karibu. Umma umetahadharishwa dhidi ya kununua rangi ambazo hazijafikia viwango vilivyowekwa na serikali na ambazo zinaweza kusababisha madhara ya sumu ya risasi au lead. Akizungumza jijini Nairobi wakati wa maadhimisho ya wiki ya kuzuia madhara ya sumu ya risasi, katibu katika idara ya afya ya umma Mary Modoni alisema kituo cha kushughulikia haki kwa mazingira na maendeleo SEJAD alisema kwamba rangi zilizotengenezwa humu nchini katika miaka ya 2013 na 2019 na 2021 zilikuwa na kiwango kikubwa cha risasi. Modoni aliongeza kuwa athari zinazotokana na sumu ya risasi ni kama vile matatizo ya kiakili kwa watoto na utasa au mimba kuharibika miongoni mwa wanawake wajawazito. Alitoa wito kwa uchunguzi wa mapema ili kubaini viwango vya sumu ya risasi katika damu.
Kenya government, in response to these issues, I know has gazetted standards of lead levels at 90 parts per million, that is in 2017, and banning the use of leaded petrol in Kenya. Yesterday we started this conversation.
A total of 21 brands were represented in the samples that were collected. All the paints were manufactured in Kenya. Just to give a snapshot of this problem, even though the study was done a few years ago, out of the 21 brands, 19 had 90% of paint brands and this was 90% of the paint brands and had at least one paint color with high levels of lead that exceeded the 90 parts per million.
To support a post-market survey, which will assess lead levels in paints available in the Kenyan market. The result of this survey will guide policy enforcement, help identify non-compliant products, and drive future advocacy campaigns.
Na shirika lisilo la kiserikali linalotoa hamasisho dhidi ya ulanguzi wa binadamu lenye makao yake jijini Nairobi kwa ushirikiano na shirika la Polish Aid limezindua mradi wa kuwapa waathiriwa ujuzi muhimu wa kibiashara na usaidizi wa kiuchumi. Hadi kufikia sasa, waathiriwa 60 wamepokea msaada kutoka kwa mashirika hayo mawili kupitia ubalozi wa Jamhuri ya Poland humu nchini. Msaada huo ni sehemu ya mpango mahususi ulioanzishwa mnamo mwaka 2010 ambao unanuia kutambua na kusaidia zaidi ya waathiriwa 1000 wa ulanguzi wa binadamu. Wanaonufaika wanatumia misaada hiyo pamoja na ujuzi kufanikisha maisha yao na kuchangia ukuaji wa kiuchumi pamoja na kuzisaidia jamii zao.
We have skills training support. We have connecting survivors with employment opportunities for those who want to be employed. And also we have self-employment, which looks into business startups.
Most of the time I deal with groceries, but now through this program, actually I'm expanding my business to serial businesses. I've opened a shop, I've employed several people. Right now I understand about employing casually and permanently.
This is very much needed activity as every activity which helps human trafficking victims and which also help to overcome the stigma around this procedure.
Na serikali ya kitaifa imehimizwa kukamilisha ujenzi wa madarasa ya wanafunzi wa sekondari msingi na kuajiri walimu zaidi ili kulainisha mpito wa elimu ya umilisi. Gavana wa Kakamega Fernandes Baraza alizungumza katika shule ya msingi ya Mumia Central. Alisifia juhudi za serikali za kushughulikia mahitaji ya wanafunzi wa sekondari msingi, lakini akasisitiza haja ya kuajiri walimu zaidi na kuboresha muundombinu wa shule kote nchini.
I want to call upon the national government through the Ministry of Education to improve the infrastructure of our junior secondary. Hii shule yetu ya Mumias Central has the highest enrollment in this region. So we need more infrastructure. We also need more teachers in our junior secondary. So I want to call upon the Ministry of Education to expedite employment of more teachers for our junior secondary schools.
Na kizaazaa kilizuka katika shule ya msingi ya Lugulu huko Butula baada ya wanafunzi kuwafurusha wazazi waliovamia shule hiyo kwa fujo, wakidai uadilifu haukuzingatiwa katika utaratibu wa utoaji zabuni kwa wanakandarasi katika shule hiyo. Wakazi walimshutumu mwalimu mkuu wa shule hiyo kwa madai ya upendeleo wakati wa utoaji zabuni za miradi ya ujenzi shuleni humo. Vuruma hiyo baina ya wanafunzi na wakazi ilisitisha shughuli za masomo kwa saa kadhaa, wanafunzi hao wakiwashtumu wakazi kwa kuvuruga masomo yao.
Na ikapewa namba 2 mwenye hakufikisha ile pass mark, na hawakutupatia barua ya kutuambia ni kwa nini waliamua kunyima yule namba 1 ile tender. Na baada ya tender kila kitu kumalizika, they took a lot of time for the verdict to come out, and they never brought the verdict to the public domain. I'm giving out the head teacher and the Lugulu Primary School fraternity with all the board. I'm giving them 72 hours, which is 3 days, to either re-advertise the tender ama wapatie yule mtu ambaye alishinda hiyo tender kakuwa number 1.
Tendering procedure ni kitu yenye constitutional na kuna procedure inafaa itumike. Mtu alianza kumwaga material kitambo. Barua ya regret evaluation inafaa ifanyike immediate enough evaluation 7 days, after which mtu anapewa 14 days ya kumeka appeal. Hata regrets letters za piano kwa wale watu walipoteza, but material ilishaanza kumwaga.
Kumradhi mpenzi mtazamaji, nilisema kwamba wanafunzi waliweza kukabiliana na wazazi. Si hivyo, ni kwamba wanafunzi waliweza kukabiliana na wakazi wa eneo hilo katika vuruma hiyo. Tukisonga mbele ni kwamba mshukiwa mmoja aliuawa na umati uliokuwa na hamaki katika soko la Tombo lililoko eneo la Malava, kaunti ya Kakamega, baada ya kushukiwa kuhusika katika msururu wa visa vya wizi. Chifu wa kata ya Silungai, Harrison Jacob Mayundo, alithibitisha kuwa mshukiwa huyo alikuwa mzaliwa wa eneo la Kamkuywa katika kaunti ya Bungoma, lakini alikuwa anaishi na mjombake katika kaunti ya Kakamega.
Pata habari alikuwa ametenda kitendo gani. Nimeambiwa tu alitoka naye Matete, kufika hapa ndio hiyo kisanga ambayo imetokea kumchoma. Ngali tunaendelea na uchunguzi, na ningelisi tu wakazi wangu wa Silungai location, wananchi wa Tombo, tuwe na utulifu wakati serikali inaendelea na uchunguzi. Watu wa nyumba 10, my village elders, tushikane pamoja ili tuweze kuona ya kwamba hao uhalifu ambao inafanyikana iwe reported kwa serikali, ndio uchunguzi ifanye. Sio vizuri kuchukua sheria mkononi mwako.
Na wakazi wa vijiji vya Hargasu na Sabansa katika eneo bunge la Isiolo Kusini wamepata afueni kufuatia uzinduzi wa kisima cha maji kwa hisani ya serikali ya kaunti ya Isiolo. Mpango huo dharura wa kukabiliana na nzige na Benki ya Dunia, kumradhi. Mpango huo wa kukabiliana na nzige kwa ushirikiano na Benki ya Dunia. Kisima hicho kina uwezo wa kutoa kubiki mita 7 hadi 10 za maji kwa saa moja, kiwango ambacho kitaweza kujaza tangi la maji la kubiki mita 50 kwa muda wa saa 8. Viongozi wa eneo hilo walisifia mpango huo, wakisema utainua maisha ya wakazi na kuboresha mazingira baada ya juhudi za hapo awali za kupata maji kuambulia patupu.
During the hydrological survey we did through the public participation with the elders around, we did the survey and we pointed out the point where the borehole is to be drilled. And according to the report, it was shown that the water will be sufficient at the depth of 160 meters. So we drilled the borehole. We were here supervising all the process. It was drilled at the 160 meters.
Na serikali ya kaunti ya Kiambu imeanzisha mradi wa ujenzi wa barabara na kukita taa 40 za barabarani katika mtaa wa mabanda wa Umoja katika manispaa ya Thika. Hii ikiwa ni awamu ya pili ya mradi wa kuboresha mazingira ya mitaa ya mabanda na kuinua viwango vya maisha ya wakazi wa mitaa hiyo. Barabara hizo mpya zitakuwa na taa 36 za barabarani zinazotumia kawi ya miale ya jua, mfumo mwafaka wa mitaro wa kuondoa maji taka na njia za watu wanaotembea kwa miguu. Mradi huo utaimarisha usalama wakati wa usiku na kuongeza muda wa kufanya biashara na hivyo kuimarisha shughuli za kibiashara katika eneo hilo.
Kwenye hii kikao chote hii kijiji ya Umoja tumeweka mulika mwizi 40. Tuko pamoja jameni? Tumeweka mataa hii ingine ya kawaida, ile mataa ingine ya kuweka kwa street, tunaweka mataa 36 na ingine 36. Yote ni mataa toto ya zaidi ya mataa 100 ambayo tunaweka.
Tulikuwa kuna giza mingi sana, lakini kwa sasa hata kazi zetu zinaenda hadi saa 5 ya usiku. Kama mimi niko na biashara hapa, sina shida sasa.
Na katika makala yetu ya Ifahamu China ni kwamba mkoa wa Hunan nchini China unaendelea kujishughulisha na umeanzisha ukumbi maalum wa kudumu wenye ukubwa wa mita 10,000 mraba kwa ajili ya maonyesho ya uchumi na biashara kali katika nchi ya China na Afrika. Ukumbi huu unalenga kuimarisha biashara kati ya pande hizi mbili, ukiwa kama jukwaa na kuunganisha biashara nyingi na kuonyesha bidhaa za kipekee kutoka Afrika, hivyo kubuni fursa zaidi za kiuchumi na ushirikiano. Maelezo zaidi ni katika makala yetu ya Ifahamu China. Tazama.
China imesaini mikataba 22 na nchi 14 za Afrika kwa ajili ya uagizaji wa bidhaa za kilimo. Ndani ya ukumbi huu mkubwa wa maonyesho ya kudumu, zaidi ya bidhaa 2,000 za kipekee kutoka Afrika zinaonyeshwa. Wakati wa likizo, wanafunzi kutoka shule mbalimbali za jiji la Changsha hutembelea ukumbi huo kujifunza na kushuhudia utamaduni, historia na sanaa ya Afrika.
Tuna almasi kutoka Afrika Kusini, yakuti kutoka Tanzania, manukato kutoka Misri, karanga kutoka Nigeria, mbegu za ufuta kutoka Gambia, asali kutoka Malawi, maganda ya miti kutoka Angola na vanila kutoka Madagascar.
Mnamo Machi mwaka huu, kongamano kuhusu kuendeleza ukanda wa kati wa China katika zama hizi mpya lilifanyika katika jiji la Changsha. Rais Xi Jinping wa China alihimiza maendeleo ya eneo hilo kuwa kiongozi wa ushindani wa ndani katika kufungua milango ya kiuchumi. Ushirikiano wa kibiashara kati ya China na Afrika umekuwa jukwaa muhimu la kufungua fursa za kiuchumi katika mkoa wa Hunan, jambo ambalo linachangia katika mkakati wa kitaifa. Guo Ning, naibu mkurugenzi wa idara ya biashara ya jimbo la Hunan, alisema kuwa ujenzi wa jukwaa kama hili ni kwa ajili ya kuendeleza bidhaa bora kutoka Afrika kwa njia ya kudumu.
经贸交流、对接洽谈、人文的交流互动，打造对非经贸交流长效机制。
Na Na mtazamaji, wacha nipate fundo la maji, tutarejea baada ya sekunde chache. Endelea kutazama.
Nadhani umefika muda wa kurudi kwa wazazi wangu na mwanangu Maya. Hapa haya ni maji ya shingo na nimeshindwa kabisa kuyaogelea.
Mimi naweza chapwa na mwanamke mimi huyo basi.
Hata wewe mtu mzima haujui kuchunga mzigo wako. Shauri yako.
Waislamu, tuangalieni mambo ambayo kwamba yatasaidia katika umma, si kutenganisha umma, bali umma tuulete sehemu moja.
Kama Waislamu tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kuingia kwa Uislamu kwa ukamilifu wa kuingia katika Uislamu. Na vile vile pia tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kushikamana na kamba ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa umoja na tusiachane nayo hata pakitokea lolote ambalo linaweza kututenganisha.
Alima ma lam ta'lamu faja'ala min duni dhalika fatahan wa kahufuri wa shani wa tuqufu.
Na mtazamaji, karibu tena, natumai kwamba unazidi kututazama. Sasa katika makala yetu ya mandhari ya kuvutia, hebu tuangazie mji wa Malindi ambao umewavutia watalii wengi. Taarifa hiyo ilitayarishwa na Irene Mchuma, lakini imeswahilishwa na kitengo cha Kiswahili cha KBC. Karibu. Malindi ambao unajulikana kama Italia ndogo una historia ndefu ya tangu karne ya 19 na karne ya 20, wakati raia wengi wa Italia walipoamua kufanya makao yao hapa, wakivutiwa na mandhari ya kupendeza.
We are very happy now about this kind of unity between Italian and Kenyans.
Viumbe hai wa majini na fursa ya kutembelea maeneo mbalimbali. Raia hao wa Italia walibuni jamii kubwa ambayo iliacha alama isiyofutika katika utambulisho wa mji huo. Watalii hao walishirikisha tamaduni zao katika utamaduni wa wenyeji, ikiwemo katika mapishi, miundo ya ujenzi na sanaa iliyobadilisha mji wa Malindi kuwa na mseto wa tamaduni za Kenya na Italia. Mojawapo ya kumbukumbu za utamaduni wa Italia ni majengo yaliyotiwa nakshi, kuanzia nyumba za kifahari za makazi hadi hoteli zenye maumbo ya kupendeza. Mbinu ya ujenzi kutoka eneo la Mediterania inadhihirika katika mijengo yenye mapaa ya mawe na bustani za kijani ambazo zimesheheni mji wa Malindi. Wanapotembea kwenye barabara za mji huu, wageni hupata kumbukumbu ya miji ya pwani ya Italia kutokana na harufu nzuri ya vyakula kama vile pasta na pizza vyenye asili ya Italia. Vyakula hivi vimeibuka kuwa maarufu zaidi katika mji wa Malindi, huku hoteli nyingi zikiuza mseto wa vyakula hivyo na vile vya humu nchini.
For them is a special place. Remind them, remember that Italy is called by the Americans the nation of the sun, and also Malindi is a place of the sun to Malindi. I mean, South Italy is very similar to Malindi. The director for Italians in Kenya is from Sicily, and even the marine archaeologist is from Sicily.
Mji huo bila shaka unaashiria umuhimu wa ubadilishanaji tamaduni, ambapo ukarimu wa Kenya unakutana na haiba ya utamaduni wa Italia. Yote 9, 10 ni kwamba iwapo roho yako huridhishwa na kutembelea masoko yenye shughuli nyingi au kula vyakula vitamu, tembelea mji huu almaarufu Italia ndogo. Ni adhuhuri katika eneo la Diani, kaunti ya Kwale. Watalii kwenye ufuo wa Kongo wanajivinjari. La kushangaza ni kwamba ni sharti wazingatie sheria na utulivu, kwani wako katika eneo takatifu. Kuhubiri na kusambaza vijitabu katika eneo hili vimepigwa marufuku. Wafanyabiashara wa jadi wa asili ya Kiarabu yasemekana walichukua miaka mingi kuzuru fuo za Bahari Hindi na wakati mwingine kusafiri kilomita chache katika Bahari Hindi. Baadhi yao yasemekana walitembea hadi fuo za Diani. Faragha na utulivu wa Diani vilichangia ujenzi wa msikiti wa kwanza katika kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Karne 3 baada ya ujenzi wa msikiti huo, waumini wa dini ya Kiislamu yasemekana walianza shughuli ya kukarabati eneo hili la kuabudia. Msikiti huo uliopewa jina la Kongo kutokana na muumini wa Kiislamu Swadik Kongo ambaye alizikwa katika eneo hilo. Msikiti wa Kongo uko karibu na ufuo wa Diani. Ufuo wa Diani una maji safi, mchanga mweupe na minazi. Eneo hilo ni mwafaka kwa wale ambao wangependa kujifunza historia na kujivinjari wakati wa likizo katika mandhari ya joto. Eneo hili la Diani pia ni mwafaka kwa upigaji picha za kuvutia.
If you don't like a hot weather and but still wants to enjoy the beach life, I think Diani Reef is the best place to be because we have the longest beach, the feel of a beach, the feel of a coastal area with tamed temperature, meaning that now that it's a rainy season, it still is raining, but at the same time, the weather is really nice and friendly.
The whole idea is this: bring tourists that have not been here, bring tourists that have been here to come again and sit again, and also ensure that the whole world is talking about Kenya.
Katika bustani ya wanyamapori ya Buteomiti kwenye kaunti ya Bungoma, mojawapo ya vivutio vya watalii ambavyo havijaangaziwa sana humu nchini. Bustani ya Buteomiti iliyoko katika ardhi ya ukubwa wa takriban ekari 10 imesheheni msitu wa miti asilia. Miti hiyo inaleta mandhari ya kuvutia katika bustani hiyo. Majani ya mti wa mwerebu hubadilika rangi wakati wa mvua ya masika. Mti wa Sweet Bay Magnolia unapoota maua huvutia zaidi. Kuanzia ndege walio viotani kwenye matawi hadi wadudu wanaojificha kwenye mashina, miti hiyo hutoa mfumo ekolojia dhabiti, mbali na kuongezea uzuri wa mazingira, uhifadhi wa turathi za kitamaduni na udhibiti wa mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Msitu huo katika bustani ya wanyama ya Buteo ni makao kwa aina 400 za ndege wakiwemo mbuni. Bustani hiyo pia ni makao ya simba na mamba miongoni mwa wanyamapori wengine.
Tuko na monkey, tuko na crocodile, tuko na tortoise. Buteo pia tuna lodging. Buteo kuna msitu, kuna miti ya kienyeji, kuna pia madawa ya kiasili. Ni makavazi ya kitambo, imeweka wanyama na watu wanaipenda sana. Huwa wanakuja hapa, wanalipa pesa kidogo, wanaona wanyama, wanafurahia mazingira yake. Na pia msitu huleta mvua huku si kama the other part of Kenya penye kuna ukame, kuna maji, kuna mvua bado.
Bustani hiyo hutoa fursa za elimu kwa wageni kujifunza kuhusu aina mbalimbali za wanyama na mifumo ekolojia. Wageni pia hupata elimu kuhusu mazingira anuai, kando na kufurahia vivutio kadhaa kama vile maonyesho ya wanyamapori na tunu. Naam, mtazamaji, hayo yamekuwa mandhari ya kuvutia. Na sijui kama wajua kuna sehemu ya kuku inayoitwa firigisi. Katika lugha ya Kibaluya inaitwa imondo. Ni mwiko kwa wanawake kula sehemu hiyo, na huku wanaume hula tu sehemu hiyo, huku wanawake wakiwatazama tu wakishangaa. Hebu tupate taarifa kamili. Hili ni eneo la Khwisero, kaunti ya Kakamega. Ukoo wa Abasamia unaendelea kudumisha utamaduni ambao umekuweko kutoka karne moja hadi nyingine. Utamaduni huo unajikita kwenye kiungo mahususi cha kuku, firigisi au kama kinavyojulikana kwa jina la kijamii imondo. Imondo ni kiungo kinachodhaminiwa kuwa kitakatifu katika mwili wa ndege, hususan kuku, na hutengewa baba wa boma kuashiria jukumu lake kama kiongozi wa familia.
Mama hakuwa anaishi miaka. Akitoka hapo naenda kugonjeka mara moja anakufa. Na anakula, hiyo sio haki yake.
Zamani za kale wanawake walikuwa wakuli kuku. Ni kwa nini? Ile kuku, ile mtungi walikuwa wanapikia chakula ingine ilikuwa inaitwa simbewa. Hii panya hii. Wazee walikuwa wanakula samani. Sasa ile walikuwa waruhusiwi wakule kuku. Wanawake samani walikuwa wakuli kuku. Kuku walianza kukula sababu ya kikanisa. Watu wa kanisa saa ile wanakuja, wanasema hapa tumekuja ugeni na wanawake, hii kuku leo watakula.
Kulingana na desturi hiyo, iwapo mwanamke atakula kiungo hiki kinachoenziwa mno, atakuwa amevunja mwiko muhimu wa kitamaduni. Kitendo hiki kitahitaji tambiko la kumtakasa mwanamke huyo kwa kutumia dawa za kienyeji, dhihirisho la heshima inayopewa desturi hii ya tangu jadi. Umuhimu wa imondo ni zaidi ya utamu wake, ni ishara muhimu ya hadhi katika familia.
Na imondo unakula tu hiyo vitu viwili kama baba ya boma. Unakula tu peke yako. Nilikuwa nasema italeta kisirani kwa boma. Na ndio tulikuwa naona mtu akula ananyang'anya na kama ananyang'anya baba. Sasa naye atasema okay, wewe fanya vile unataka. Na iweze maliza mwezi kabla hujalala chini. Unaanza tu kama malaria, kama nini. Mtu analala hapa chini, baada ya siku 2 amekufa.
Iwapo mzee wa boma, heshima hii hutwikwa mtoto wa kiume ambaye ni kifungua mimba au ndugu wa baba huyo. Kugawana firigisi hiyo bila ruhusa huchukuliwa kama kudhihaki familia, na inaaminika kutaleta mgawanyiko na malumbano yasiyoweza kusuluhishwa. Wanawake katika jamii wamekubali utamaduni huu kama sheria maalum. Firigisi huchukuliwa kuwa mojawapo ya sehemu za mwili wa kuku zinazotamaniwa zaidi, ile hali hawaruhusiwi kuiguza.
Na mwanamke hawezi kuruhusu akule hiyo imondo. Kuku ilikuwa inafanywa umuluha. Kuku ndio ilikuwa inafanywa mambo yote. Sasa wanawake walikuwa hawaruhusu kukula hiyo imondo ndani na hiyo ishasundi na hata kuku yenyewe.
Licha ya mwiko huu unaoweza kuchukuliwa kama ukandamizaji, desturi hii hudumu kizazi hata kizazi. Ukiukwaji wa sheria hii, hususan wakati wa hafla za kifamilia, kuku huwa hawatolewi kama kafara katika jamii hii, jinsi inavyoelezewa na Watende.
Alikuwa nakataa tuweze kula kuku nini ya kuku kama yeye bado ali mzima, na akakataa kabisa mpaka siku ile alikufa. Ndio kijana mkubwa alianza kula hiyo kasundi.
Majukumu ya familia huwa yamebainishwa kinagaubaga. Wanawake hawaruhusiwi kushiriki katika matambiko haya, na hivyo kuimarisha uanuai wa jinsia wa utamaduni wa Abasamia.
Hao wazee wa zamani ndio wanajua pale walitoa hiyo sheria. Sikuuliza.
Mwanamke kula imondo huchukuliwa kama upinzani wa uongozi wa mwanaume, kitendo ambacho kitayumbisha msingi wa familia. Hata hivyo, mambo yamebadilika na imondo ambayo hutengewa wanaume sasa inauzwa hadharani katika masoko, huku wanawake wakiila bila tashwishi. Kwa jamii ya Agikuyu, maziko sio tu njia ya kumlaza mpendwa kaburini, bali pia ni mila ya tangu jadi. Tangu jadi, Agikuyu waliamini kuwa kifo sio mwisho wa maisha, bali ni mpito hadi awamu nyingine ya maisha, ambapo mwenda zake anajiunga na mababu waliolala. Makundi mbalimbali katika jamii ya Agikuyu kama vile rika linajulikana kama njama, limebuni desturi zao za maziko.
Jama siyo kanisa, nimesema it's like a age group or an age set. Kuna jama ya vijana wadogo, walikai inaendaga hivyo. Hata kuna jama ya wale wazee wakongwe, kwa kikwetu tunawaita maturaguru.
Wanapomzika mpendwa wao huchimba kaburi lenye umbo la pango. Jeneza huwekwa ndani ya kaburi hilo na kulazwa kulingana na jinsia ya mwenda zake.
Kichiba shimo, kuna ile kitu unaweka hivi, hiyo inaitwa gofyo kwa Kikuyu. Na gofyo maana yake ama sababu yake ni usipige ile yule amelala na mchanga. Manake sio kumfukuza, unamfukuza huku.
Iwapo marehemu ni mwanaume, mwili hulazwa ukiwa umeelekezwa sehemu ya kuingia kwa boma, kudhihirisha jukumu lake kama mlinzi na kiongozi wa boma.
Kama ni mama, anafaa kulalia hapa na angalie boma yake. Kama huyu alikuwa ameangalia boma yake, ili awe akichunga, mpaka awe akichunga kwa gate. Kwetu kwa Kikwetu gate ni dhome. Ni nani anaingia na anakuja kuleta nini huku? Ni furugu ama ni amani? Kama ni mzee, inakuaga alalie mkono huyu, angalie dhome.
Kinyume na desturi ya kisasa ambapo msalaba hutumiwa kama ishara ya eneo la kaburi, kundi la njama hukita bendera kwenye kaburi kumuenzi marehemu kama shujaa.
Sisi tumepanda bedela na kibendera ni Kiswahili, kwetu tunaitaga kifefero. Ati ili ijulikane hapo kumelala mmoja wa mwenye mila na desturi za Wakikuyu.
Baada ya maziko, matofari huwekwa juu ya kaburi yakiwa yamepakwa rangi nyeusi, kijani kibichi na nyeupe, kila rangi ikiwakilisha vipengele tofauti vya jamii na turathi.
Kala ya black ndio ni kumaanisha sisi ni watu weusi. Kuna kala ya green ni kumaanisha sisi, na hiyo ina represent kitu kama the land, which is also green. It signifies our land is full of grain. Na kuna white, it signifies peace.
Rika la njama huomba wakielekea mlima Kenya au Kirinyaga kama ishara ya uhusiano wao na Mungu anayejulikana kama Ngai. Wakati wote wa maziko hayo, nyimbo za kitamaduni huimbwa kama ishara ya kudhihirisha umuhimu wa utamaduni katika jamii. Maziko katika jamii ya Gikuyu, yawe ya kitamaduni au ya kisasa, huwa na maudhui sawa ya heshima, asili na uhusiano na mababu wa kale. Desturi hizi hutoa fursa ya kukubali kama mwenda zake amewaaga, kutoa heshima za mwisho na kuhakikisha kuwa roho ya marehemu itaendelea kuwalinda waliobaki nyuma. Licha mabadiliko ya kisasa katika jamii, desturi za njama hutoa fursa ya kukadiria uhusiano uliopo kati ya utamaduni, imani na jamii. Naam, mtazamaji, hayo yamekuwa maziko yanayotekelezwa na baadhi ya jamii ya Wakikuyu, na taarifa hiyo iliweza kufuatia taarifa ya imondo ambayo ni firigisi katika jamii ya Waluya, na mimi ni mmoja wapo wa wale ambao hula imondo, na nakwambia kwamba ikiwa nasima hufaa sana, mwacha mila ni mtumwa, sina budi kuitwa hivyo. Kwa heri mtazamaji, nimelikunja jambi langu. Tunaona tena hapo kesho saa 10 kamili majira ya Afrika Mashariki. Jina langu ni Shila Kayaro Yogo. Kwa heri.
I'm also starving, but I'm so starving for your love.
Hey, Mwalimu, you are going to teach us in a kaptura? Is there a problem with it?
Come on, you will die very poor. Slap me again, my love. Say you love me.
Not even in your dreams. Shame on you. Odzote zilingia, Buddha. Zilingia.
You see?
How much did you make? Enough to make a lasting impression.
What about it, Jeb?
He told me to bet call.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Waislamu, tuangalieni mambo ambayo kwamba yatasaidia katika umma, si kutenganisha umma, bali umma tuulete sehemu moja.
Kama Waislamu tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kuingia kwa Uislamu kwa ukamilifu wa kuingia katika Uislamu, na vile vile pia tumeamrishwa tuwe wenye kushikamana na kamba ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa umoja na tusiachane nayo hata pakitokea lolote ambalo linaweza kututenganisha.
Alima ma lam ta'lamu faja'ala min duni dhalika fatahan wa kahufuri wa shani wa tukufu hurul aini.
Siku zinasonga sambamba na matukio yanavyojiri.
Kuyajua hayo, mbali na hamasa zilizopo kwengineko, shirika la utangazaji KBC limejitolea kuhakikisha ubora wa matangazo yasiyo na chuku.
Darubini huangazia mengi ya kusini na kaskazini, mashariki na magharibi, na kukuwasilishia kwa njia stahiki.
Ufasaha, usawa, uketo, pasipo kuegemea upande wowote.
Iwapo hutaki shaka kwa unachoarifiwa, Darubini itakidhi mahitaji yako. Jina langu ni Nancy Onyancha.
Na mimi ni Harith Salim.
Jina langu ni Gladys Mungai.
Mimi ni Ahmed Jumabalo.
Nami ni Sarafina Robi.
KBC, angazo la Wakenya.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one? And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Kile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome to the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, or KDIC, a state corporation established under the KDI Act Cap 487C. But who exactly are we? KDIC provides a deposit insurance for customers of member institutions. KDIC, safer, stronger together.